Now that we've built a hello world, let's go ahead and look at the build process a little bit more in depth. So I'm going to say new Qt console application. I did say I was going to go through these a little bit faster as we get going through them. Now I'm going to call this, and this is going to be C for CMake. Again, doesn't really matter what you name it, but the build system here I'm going to use is CMake. And then I'm just going to next, make sure you have the right version, and finish. And I am going to just grab some code from off the screen here and plop it in. This is just the hello world that we did in the last video. Again, you may not need this include Qdebug because it's probably already in Qt Core and Core application, although I have seen on some systems it just simply doesn't work that way. So when in doubt, go ahead and include it. Now, all this is doing is just printing out hello world on the screen. Pretty simple, actually, so I'm going to clear that out. And let's go ahead and give this a good build. Now, we talked about this before. Running steps for a project, whatever the project name is, resisting CMake state, that's just CMake doing some background maintenance, and then it's going to start the actual build process. So we're really calling the application CMake with some parameters, build, and then build target all. Now, automatic mock for UIC, what does this mean? Well, that means that we are going to generate, or I should say Qt is going to generate for us code. That code is actually compiled into this guy right here, mockscompilation.cpp. Let's actually go out and let's look at this right here. Here's our actual source code. You can see we have our cmake.txt, cmakelist.txt.user. This is just user settings for your session. If you open that up, I think it's just an XML file. And then we have our actual source code that we've been working on, which is, well, right here. Now let's jump back out here and you see this build folder. And just for clarification, I'm going to wipe both of these out, move them right to the trash, and let's give this another build. All right, let's jump back here. Here's our build folder, and you can see we have other things going on here. For example, AutoGen. What is all of this? Well, this is source code that Qt has generated for us. And you see it starts with MOC, which is short for mock or meta object compiler. What's happening here is Qt is adding a bunch of code for us, which makes our life a lot easier in the future. But right now, we're still in the infancy steps, so we won't really understand it even if we looked at it. However, if you're super brave and you just wanted to see what's going on here, you'll see, oh, this file is auto-generated. Changes will be overwritten. No files found that require mock. Meaning, because our program's so simple, it doesn't really need mock. That's how smart Qt is. It's not going to just put a bunch of garbage in there because it doesn't need it. That's actually incredibly cool. All right, so that in a nutshell is the CMake build process. So let's go out here and let's collapse this, close that. And let's go new project. I want to make a Qt console application. And let's call this Qt 6 Core for Beginners. This is 3-2, and we're going to say Q, because we're going to use QMake, the older build system. Again, doesn't really matter what you name it. The big takeaway here is when you get to build system, this time go to QMake. No translation file. Kit's going to be the same kit that we used for the other project. And finish. Now you'll notice this looks drastically different, and most of the tutorials out on the internet, including my own YouTube channel, are going to look like this. It looks much, much simpler, although there is a bit more complexity. We have this .pro file, which stands for project, which has, well, the QMake way of doing it, which is drastically different than CMake. At its core, really it's doing basically the same thing. We're telling it what not to include, what source code files, and then our specific deployment targets and what we need. And this gets vastly more complex. Again, our application is pretty simple. I'm just going to save this. And let's go ahead and take the same code. And actually, just so there's no discrepancy here, I'm going to just select all. And let's go ahead and copy. And I'm going to go out here and I'm going to select all. And let's go ahead and paste. the literally exact same code, every little last bit of it. Let's go over here, let's clear this out, and notice this is bold, so this is the one that's going to build. And whoa, that is a drastically different build process. You can see it's much, much different. So we're running steps to build the project, and then it's starting, and then this time it is running a different program altogether. It's running QMake, not CMake. So at the end of the day, really, it's just which program you want to run, and then you have to tell the program to run a specific way. It's creating a stash file, something we really don't need to know about, but basic settings for QMake, and then it is going to go ahead and build it out. But the same basic principle applies. It's going to build out, call mock, and do all these things in the background for us. And when we go out and we look, we've got our C and our Q. So there's our CMake, and here is our QMake. It looks drastically different. At the end of the day, we have a binary executable that we can run if we need to. This is incredibly cool. So you may be scratching your head going, now wait a minute. If QMake exists and QMake is, well, just there, why are they switching to CMake? Over time, CMake has become the industry standard, and I'll just say it. Some of this technology may not have existed back when Qt was created, or it existed and just wasn't up to speed, so Qt actually created their own. But as the technology advances, instead of having to maintain this thing, Qt wants to realign with industry standards. So I'm going to right-click and set this one as the active. And let's clear this out. And we've done this before. No work to do because we've already built. Let's go ahead and clean this, which is going to get rid of all those object files. And then let's rebuild it. Same thing. It's going to call mock. Mock's going to figure out if there's anything we need to do. It's going to compile our code and link it. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter which build system you use. They both pretty much do the same thing, just slightly different ways. And when I say slightly, it's under the hood, it's drastically different. I'm very well of that, but I'm trying to overly simplify this when it comes down to build systems. This is probably the only time in this series you're going to see QMake, because we are going to favor CMake because that's what Qt's going to be using moving forward.